Hello everybody, welcome back to Phoenix to... Why did I space out on that? Hello everybody, welcome back to Patchman Plays Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Rise from the Ashes. Oh right, we investigate the, evening, and then the trial is the following morning, so day 3 investigation is actually... Yeah, that's where I want to be. February 21st, 3:12 p.m., Wright and Co. law offices. I'm so sorry, Mr. Wright. I'm sorry for what my sister said. Oh yeah, last time, she basically admitted to forging evidence. Among other things, we found out that Jake Marshall, was the one who got attacked in the evidence room, but someone else also got attacked there earlier, and we're arguing that that's the real time of the crime. So that's where we left up. And this is all flashback, so I'm not going to reread it. But, I didn't know. I never knew that the SL9 incident was just another name for the Joe Dog killings. Sounds like everyone's heard about these killings but me. Lana wanted Dog convicted so badly. That's why she used me. That's why she used what happened to me. What do you mean, what happened to you? It's all there in the file. Joe Dog's last victim was Prosecutor Neil Marshall. When he murdered Officer Marshall's brother, he left behind an incriminating piece of evidence. But what did you have to do with those killings, Emma? On the night Prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered, Joe Dog tried to kill me. What? He tried to kill you? Officer Marshall's brother, Neil, was only trying to save me. So that means you... Yes. I was a witness in the Joe Dog trial. I should have gone the other way around. It literally says that! What do you mean you didn't see it coming? Alright, I suppose we should check. It happened 2 years ago. It was right about this time of the year, too. It was a terrible thunderstorm that day, unusual for the season. I was alone in my sister's office. We were planning to eat dinner together once she finished her work. Then suddenly, this terrifying man came boosting into the office. Joe Dog. Seemed like he was running from someone. He pulled out a knife and screamed at me. I didn't know what was going on. Just then, Prosecutor Marshall showed up. Jake Marshall's brother. Right, he was a prosecutor. Did they mention that? I think they mentioned that. Yeah, he got the trophy. Joe Dog tried to take me hostage, but before he could, Mr. Marshall tackled him. Then, what happened? I'll never forget it. Lightning struck, and the lights went out. Suddenly, a bolt of lightning flashed outside the window, lighting up the office for an instant. What I saw then burned a permanent picture in my mind. I can still see it now. I don't remember the moment when Doug stabbed Mr. Marshall, so you weren't able to testify about that. No, I was only asked about when I was attacked. That must be why she made up the crime. Made it up? You mean provided bogus evidence? The prosecutor's office wanted that guilty verdict so badly. Lana forged the evidence and Mr. Edgeworth used it. Edgeworth? Yes, but I'm sure he didn't know anything about it. He couldn't have known he was being given false evidence. Even so, that's when it all started. The rumors about Mr. Edgeworth, I mean. It's all my fault. If I could have just testified properly, none of this would have happened. So it's true, even though he may not have known it. Edgeworth really was involved in falsifying evidence. After that case ended, Lana was never the same. She became cold like she is today. She must not have been able to face up to what she did, especially not to Emma. What did you see in the instant that crime occurred? Doc knocked down Mr. Marshall and raised his knife. Mr. Marshall was dead right in front of this poor girl. I don't remember what happened after that. Apparently I passed out. When I came to, Lana was cradling me in her arms. Poor Emma, you've been through so much. I couldn't bring myself to testify about that incident. I tried, but the words just wouldn't come out. I drew a picture, but it wasn't any good. That's a specific detail. 2 years ago. You must have been 14. That's understandable. Once it was all over, I made up my mind. I decided that when I grew up, I'd become a scientific investigator. I want to be able to fight crime with my testimonies, and find the evidence to make an airtight case. That way, Lana would never have to forge any. I see. I think I'm finally starting to understand what makes Emma tick. But there's still something that bothers me about that crime. There's something that's... yeah. What is it? You said you were in Lana's office at the time, right? That's right. Why then would a serial killer come running in there? Not only that, but he was being chased by a prosecutor? Or was it the... There's no mystery there. Your dog had been taken in for questioning that day. Taken in for questioning? You mean by the police? Of course. This happened at the police department. Eh? He tried to run away halfway through the interview and fell into my sister's office. Why did you run all the way over to your sister's office? Because the detective office is in the questioning room right across from the elevator. Oh, did she change jobs? Across from the elevator? But Lana was the chief prosecutor, wasn't she? No, silly. Okay, didn't I tell you? 2 years ago, Lana was attacked. There it is. Okay. 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 I wasn't supposed to have picked up on something. That was intentional. Okay. She was the best in the entire force. What? It's news to me. After the Joe Dart case, she was transferred to the prosecutor's office and made chief prosecutor. He used to be a detective. I'd better have another talk with her. Alright, giving us direction right off the bat. I like it. Lana. Mr. Wright. Seems I keep causing you trouble. Falsifying evidence. I didn't think you were the type. Criminals don't mind playing foul, why should we? But Lana, if you're wrong, an innocent person might be found guilty. Believe me, I understand the risks. Emma told me about you. Oh? Thought you were a detective 2 years ago. That the SL9 incident was the reason for your transfer to the prosecutor's office. That's right. Could you fill me in on the details? Especially about that unusual change of jobs. Suppose you have a right to know, Mr. Wright? A lot of revelations were uncovered at the trial today, not the least of which was the fact that this case is largely connected to another one 2 years ago. Evidence from that case was stolen as well, though I expected as much. I know how obsessive Officer Marshall can be. That trial. It really wasn't fair, was it? I believed in you, Lana. I believed that no matter what happened, you'd always stick to the truth. It couldn't be helped, Emma. That trial 2 years ago, I sold my soul. All drama aside, the fact of the matter is, at 5:15, there was no murder at the police department. Tell me it's not true, Lana. What the witness, Miss Starr, said. About you stabbing Mr. Goodman with a knife? Lana, I don't understand. Why won't you tell us? Emma, this doesn't involve just me. I don't think I've ever seen Lana look so phased before. It's true. I was a member of the police force 2 years ago. She was amazing. Ooh. They still talk about all the cases she and Chief Gant cracked together. Chief Gant. He was the deputy chief of police back then, but he still worked the crime scenes. Damon Gant. He was everything I aspired to be. They were the best team ever. They solved crimes before the reports could even be filed. Emma really idolizes her big sister. But now you're chief prosecutor. What happened? I always planned on becoming a prosecutor. The reason I became a detective was to gain experience investigating crime scenes so you could use that experience in court, right? Gant's help in the SL9 case was crucial to its resolution. After that, he became chief of police and arranged my transfer to prosecutor's office. Maybe I should ask more about this investigation of theirs 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I was second in command of the detectives investigating Dark. Second in command to Gant. That means the investigation lead was Damon Gant, right? Yes. Deputy Chief Gant and I shared the same office and the same investigation. We're gonna need to see that office. They even had the same office. Yeah, okay. We need the team of the best detectives on the force. Gumshoe. That's it. Go, Detective Goodman, whose case it was, Jake Marshall, and Angel Starr. It was the first time Marshall worked with his brother. He was quite gung-ho. Without a doubt, Joe Doak was the serial killer. We asked him to come in for questioning. We were desperate for evidence. That was when his final murder took place. And he tried to murder Emma. Prosecutor Marshall was trying to save me from Doc. You see, the first person who happened upon the scene of the crime was me. Now you tell us. David Gant and Neil Marshall were the ones questioning Doak that day. The investigation was in its final stages, and Doak must have suddenly panicked. So we waited until Gant and Marshall let their guards down, then fled the room. From there, he ran straight to the office shared by Deputy Chief Gant and myself. That's where he found me. So you were the first person to run to the scene, Lana? It appears so. I was filing some papers while Gant and Marshall were questioning Doc. When I returned to my office, I saw 3 bodies on the floor and smelled blood. 3 bodies? Prosecutor Marshall, the victim Emma, who had passed out, and the suspect Joe Doak. During the struggle, it seems Mr. Marshall struck a final blow before he died. Joe Doak had incurred a minor concussion and lay unconscious. What did you do? To be honest, I panicked. I picked up Emma, carried her out of the room, and just held her. Can't blame her, after all her sister must have gone through. After that, I placed Doak under immediate arrest. Let me get this straight. You were all involved in the SL9 incident. That's right. What a coincidence, I don't buy it. What are you saying? There's no way everyone involved in this trial was also involved in that incident. Just by chance. But that case was solved 2 years ago. At least one person went to extremes because they didn't believe it was truly solved. Officer Marshall. Yes, his actions came as a surprise to me as well. Ever since his brother died, he's changed completely. I guess he wasn't convinced with the ruling against Joe Dog. Life doesn't end with the closing of a case. Everyone has to live the rest of their lives with their memories. That case might just not be over yet. Emma was assaulted by Doc at the police department, right? Yes, in the office that Damon Gant and I shared. The office that Mr. Gant now occupies by himself. The Chief's office. Maybe we should have a look at the Chief's office, the site of the final SL9 murder. I don't see Detective Gumshoe anywhere. Things seem kind of quiet around here today. You're right. Chief of Detectives seems the same, so why don't we look for some other people to talk to? Right, we can come back here later. Moment entrance. I expected you to be in jail. Howdy, Bambina. Oh, Mr. Marshall. I never thought things would turn out this way when I woke up this morning. Que sera, you never know where life will lead you, eh, Bambina? I should have known my luck ran out when old Billy dried up this morning. Billy? Must be his pet cactus. Say, where are you headed? Just over to the prosecutor's office for a little interrogation. It's a voluntary appearance, but we all know I won't be coming back. Sorry, but you can't go in the evidence room today, partner. Mr. Marshall, why did you do it? Why do prospectors head west? If there was a case I needed to know the truth about, it was that one. Will you turn yourself in, Mr. Marshall? Do you mind telling us exactly what happened? Looks like I won't be getting a steak lunch today. Something was fishy about that trial from the beginning. It wasn't just me either. All the detectives thought so. What do you mean fishy? Some of the facts reported were inconsistent with the evidence we found. For example, the murder weapon. The murder weapon? You mean that switchblade knife with the broken tip? That was Joe Dog's, alright. But in the initial autopsy report, a question was raised. The blade of the knife was not a perfect match with the wound the victim sustained. What does that mean? It means there's a good chance that knife was not the murder weapon. However, in the report that was finally submitted, that possibility had been erased. Could the facts have been concealed with forged evidence? That case left behind scars on all of us. The scars that the SL9 incident left behind. I got the looks, but he got the brains. It was one of the... I disagree with at least one of those things. Anyway, he was one of the best prosecutors around. I just made detective when it went down. It's our first case together. How old was he, your brother? 27 at the time. Was awarded the highest honor that very day. The highest honor? You mean the King of Prosecutors? I knew it. What are you looking at me like that for? That's an honor for a prosecutor. Mr. Marshall must have really been close with his brother. The day SL9 incident took place, that wasn't the same day as... That's right. It was the day of the evidence transfer. Interesting. It was drizzling that morning, and by nightfall there was thunder. Can't believe 2 years have gone by already. Tried to steal the evidence so the case wouldn't die. Apparently someone tried to stop you. Detective Goodman was murdered, and the evidence locker was empty. Well, I had the gloves still. There was something going on behind the scenes in that case. We all knew that later. Every detective involved in that investigation, save one, was taken care of. The store was fired, and I was demoted and boxed away in a tiny room. What about Detective Goodman? If they did something to him too, commissioners would get suspicious. Now, they were careful enough not to be too obvious. They? What are you talking about? Gant and Sky. Don't get upset, Bambina. I mean Damon Gant and Lana Sky. The investigation lead Damon Gant and his second in command, Lana Sky, wasn't the person on the first who hadn't heard of that duo. That case was the biggest step in both of their careers. After the case ended, Lana transferred to the prosecutor's office, right? Oh yeah, and Damon Gant, the new chief of police, arranged for that to happen. She's never been the same since she left. Verna knew or said so. Chief Prosecutor Scott was totally different when she was a detective. And when he mentions it, Emma said something like that too. Tell me, what happened to my sister? Sorry, Bambina, but her secret is too well guarded. I never found out. Lana's secret. It all started 2 years ago. There you have it. That's my story. Did you enjoy it, partner? It was certainly enlightening. There's one thing for sure I found out in court today. That boy Edgeworth ain't my enemy. He was the one who used falsified evidence to get a guilty verdict, but someone else was the one who gave him that evidence and planned everything. That someone is Damon Gant. Don't believe me? Well, I don't blame you. I won't even be a patrolman after today. Too bad I won't be around to work with you when you become a real scientific investigator. Adios, Bambina. Better. Did I take out his batteries? I just can't help but feel like he's gonna do something naughty. Alright. Wait, how do I... Oh, okay. February 21st, Police Station, Criminal Affairs Department. This place is always empty, but today it's deserted. That must mean everyone's busy solving crimes. Oh, if you're looking for the others, they're all in the conference room. Thanks. Wow, he actually talked to us. With the chief prosecutor saying what you did and the decision about what to do about Mr. Edgeworth, not to mention our statement to the media and tomorrow's trial. Here's Mukhayas going around on Thanksgiving and Christmas put together. I think festive is the word usually used for those. Sir, we'd like to have a look around Chief Gant's office. Just use the connecting hallway to the other building and take the elevator to the top floor. Really? You mean it's okay for us to go in there? I mean, we aren't police officers or anything. Hey, you're right. You can't go in there. It's off limits. Shouldn't have said anything. I assume where Detective Gumshoe gets his unique charm. Well, what are we waiting for? Let's head to the chief's office. Wow. Oh, there's that picture. I see a couple of very interesting things in that picture. Anyway, yeah, this is definitely the final boss's room. He's just Ganondorf. I mean, there's no way that's Lana's. He's just Ganondorf. Whoa, where am I? In the chief's office, silly. At least that's what it said on the door. Check out that pipe hookah. That's real, isn't it? Hey, I used to take hookah lessons in kindergarten. They used to call me Little Miss Bach. I thought I was a genius until they tried teaching me notes. So, I never could remember where C was. It's between D and D. It's the one right under the set of two black keys. Hmm? Oh, it's you two. Oh, what was my voice? Oh, it's you! I don't know. Chief Gant. He put that paper he was reading in his desk. So, Righto, have you been swimming lately? No, I haven't. I've been kind of busy lately. I can appreciate that. I've had my hands full too with Mr. Marshall's misconduct. And Lala's provocative statement. Provocative statement? Oh, you mean about the forged evidence? 2 years have passed since that incident. How the time flies. See that big picture on the wall over there? That's a picture of Lana, Neil, and me. Okay. Yes. Well, this is Mr. Marshall's brother, Prosecutor Neil Marshall. We took it to commemorate our work together. Something's not right with this picture. I can't quite seem to put my finger on it, though. That's where they took it, right there. Anyway, I'd like to reminisce all day, but there are matters that need my attention. I'm gonna lock up here, so let's go out together. Oh. But this office, it was a crime scene 2 years ago, wasn't it? That case is long since been over. There's no need to investigate it anymore. All the same, we'd still like to have a look around. Perhaps you didn't hear me. I said there's no need to investigate it anymore. Now hurry up and get out. I have a meeting to attend. Looks like we aren't welcome. Seems that case isn't over with yet after all. What do you mean? Chief Kent denied our request to search the crime scene. That means there must be a reason he doesn't want us looking around in there. You mean like a clue? There's gotta be a way we can get inside the chief's office. Hey, pal! Detective Gumshoe, are you supposed to be in a meeting? I'm just taking a breather. My feet hurt. From sitting so long? Actually, I'm serving everyone coffee. Sounds like Detective Gumshoe is still out of the loop. Say, have either of you seen Mr. Edgeworth? Edgeworth? No, why do you ask? He's under fire for both the police department and the prosecutor's office. It's almost like the battle's between you two and Kurt. That sounds serious. Is it because of what my sister said? That's basically what it all boils down to. That falsified evidence 2 years ago. Now Mr. Edgeworth has the whole world after his blood. Yikes. Why would Edgeworth be blamed? It's not like he knew the evidence was forged. Honest Guy is the guilty party here, isn't he? She? Regardless, the prosecutor is responsible for the evidence they present in court, pal. Not only that, but as you know, there have been a lot of rumors going around about Mr. Edgeworth. His amazing talent as a prosecutor has kept him safe from those who don't like him. That with this... Is there really so many people who hate him? Now only those with talent rise to the top. Mr. Edwards not only is that, but he's young. It's the better recipe I know of for making enemies. Hey, keep up the good work. Yes, sir. Let's go for lunch sometime. My treat. Yes, sir. You gotta take me back to that joint sometime, okay, there? Yes, sir. Since you don't have any problems with enemies. Yeah, well, I'm careful not to stick out. Anyway, I'm a bit worried about him. Under all this pressure, I'm afraid Mr. Edwards just might crack. Actually, I took a look at the file earlier while the coffee was brewing. Seems genuinely concerned for Edgeworth. Well, did you find out anything? The only evidence Stoker left behind was during his final attack. His final attack? You mean when he killed Prosecutor Marshall, who was trying to protect some girl? Thank you! Nee. Detective Gumshoe never realized Emma was the girl, even though... Right there! That's when he left behind the most incriminating evidence of all! Well, what was it? Oh, let's see. I think it had something to do with the murder weapon? Ah, I forget. Look, it's all written somewhere in here, okay? Powers of recollection never fail to impress. Maybe we should show him the murder weapon. It might jog his memory. Joe Doak was 42 at the time of the crime. He was just your run-of-the-mill businessman. What made him turn to serial killing? One day on his way home from work, he hit someone with his car. With his car? So it was an accident? An accident, yes, but it transformed him into an animal. An animal? Killed the man that witnessed the accident. And he killed a lady who saw the second car. A kid walked by just then, so he killed him too, and when he was burying the bodies, a drover came upon the scene and was killed as well. Finally, he turned himself in. He turned himself in? If he's admitting to the crime, why do you need all this evidence for? Seems he was a pretty careless animal. Because this is all conjecture. There wasn't a single shred of evidence. So he turned himself in. Yeah, but in the middle of the questioning, he fled and murdered his final victim. Prosecutor Marshall. Crime was witnessed by someone too. But luckily Doak was arrested on the spot. It's a good thing that last witness wasn't killed. That last witness, aka Emma. Alright, we gotta show him the murder. Oh wait, not that murder weapon. About this. Hey, is that... It has a tag attached to it, with the label SL9 incident on it. I believe this would be the broken murder weapon you were speaking of. What are you doing with that? Ever since that case was closed, that knife's been locked away in a locker. And Detective Goodman was word this suddenly disappeared from the locker, and was found in Mr. Edgeworth's car, muffler. That's it! I remember what that incriminating piece of evidence was. When you showed me that knife, it all came back to me. Well, what is it, Detective? Quick, before you forget again. This knife. It was Joe Doak's, wasn't it? That's right. I traced it back to the store he bought it at. Plus, it had his fingerprints on it, too. But no one actually witnessed him using it to murder anyone, right? That's where his luck ran out. When you take a good look at the knife, you'll see it's broken! You don't have to take a good look to notice that. Well, anyway, take a guess where the broken off tip of the knife was found. That's what did him in. Who was it? The victim, Neil Marshall, was carrying it inside his own body. It was found deep inside the stab wound. Wait. Didn't Marshall say something about it not matching? Did Mash Jock's knife? You bet. Down to the last fiber. That's pretty conclusive. Neil's autopsy report was added to the court record. Back on the lung. Knife tip was in the wound. But not updated. Well, there you have it in a nutshell. That's all I know. Okay, wait, can we look at that in more detail? Yeah. Blood loss in under 10 minutes. Not really a ton of pertinent information, so. What is it? It's money you need. You should ask Chief Gann. It's not money, but it does concern the chief. His office is the crime scene, right? Where Prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered. Chief's out now, and his office is locked. But we'd like to have a look around, if that's okay. Oh, well, any detective's ID card can unlock the door. What? Really? But if I let us fill in there, I'd be charged with breach of trust. Breach of trust. Simply put, I'd be canned. Oh. Sorry, pal. I don't plan on getting fired because of you. How about this ID card? It was Detective Goodman's. I'm Creature. The data was deleted the day he died. Oh. So in other words, Gumshoe was our only chance of getting into that office. Wonder if there's something we could show him that would make him change his mind. No. Get it. Okay. Where does that leave us? We haven't been on this crime scene today. Is there anyone here? No one's here today. Not even Miss Star. I was busy looking into that's what detectives are, but we proved in court today that on the day of the crime, no one was murdered into evidence from 515. I thought we were finally making some headway in our case, but instead it looks like we just ended up making Lana look even more guilty. And they'd find all the answers by tomorrow. Oh yeah, we were gonna talk to Edgeworth. Oh, and I wanted our prosecutor's office, room 1202. Wonder if Edgeworth's back yet. There he is. Looks like he's writing something. What are you doing here? He sure was quick to throw that paper on the floor. Tough day in court, huh? I've had to live the past 2 years with rumors flying around. What's another allegation to me? That's not the voice I was using for him. I don't know. Cheer up, Miss Edgeworth. I'm rooting for you. It's Edgeworth for you. Always trying to hide his real feelings. So what do you want? Unlike some people, I don't have all day. This picture was hanging on the wall in Chief Gant's office. Prosecutor Neil Marshall. He had just started making a name for himself. Looks like this was taken when he received the King of Prosecutors trophy. Speaking of that, there's something that bothers me. Yes? Trophy Mr. Marshall is holding, it's a little different than yours. Yes, you're right. I remember now. Remember what? That was what the official prosecutor's trophy looked like until 2 years ago. There's a story behind its design. A story? Sounds interesting. Do you mind telling it to us? It's simple, really. Contradiction. That's what the award's based on. Alright, let's start at the top. There's no excuse for what I've done. 2 years ago, I used false evidence to obtain a guilty verdict. That's what it all breaks down to, and nothing I can do can erase that fact. But you didn't know. Sorry. But you didn't know, did you? I mean, that the evidence was falsified. The police department and the prosecutor's office share a bond of trust. That bond is broken, we stand to lose everything. The police department's error is my error. My responsibility as the prosecutor in charge. That fact remains the same no matter what excuses I might have. Mr. Edgeworth, I take pride in my work, so tell me why. Why has it all come to this? Even Edgeworth can't keep this kind of emotion bottled up. Are you up for the trial tomorrow? Huh. First last year's trial, now this one. Seems all you do is worry about me. To be honest, you're getting on my nerves. Mr. Edgeworth, you can't just walk out on the trial. Tomorrow's the last day. It's too late to change prosecutors. I'll bet that's what my superiors are banking on. I never thought that case would come back to haunt me like this. What do you mean? A list of evidence. It seems too short. Most lists run twice as long. It's only half as long as most lists? That is odd. After Neil Marshall was murdered, I became prosecutor for that case. I may not have been part of the investigation, but I knew what I had to do. Use the evidence I was given to prove the suspect guilty. That was really the only thing on my mind at the time. Say, we just saw a picture taken around that time. That picture, something seemed strange about it. Yeah, we already went through that. Did we get that added to the... No. Could you tell us again about what happened that night? The day Detective Goodwin was murdered? You were participating in a ceremony over at the station, right? Never cared for ceremonies, but I had to attend that one. Because you were awarded this? Those receiving awards can't exactly skip out on the ceremony. I finished up at the office in the morning, then drove over to the police department. You finished up at the office? Yes, just odds and ends, clerical stuff. I didn't plan on returning to the office that day. That is, until I was asked to take something back. Take something back? This. Oh yeah, Chief Gant asked you to hold on to that, didn't he? Yes, it was a piece of evidence that was in a case that was closed half a year ago. He asked me to bring it back to the prosecutor's office. That's the story we heard yesterday. So you came back here to the prosecutor's office because the chief asked you to. That's right? Alright, what's the story? This word originates from an ancient Chinese tale. In Chinese, the word contradiction is written with two characters. The first means halberd, and the second means shield. Have you heard this story? Me? Oh, sure. Everyone knows that. Why don't you tell it though? For Emma's sake. Very well. Long ago in the kingdom of Chu, there was an alms merchant. One day he presented the king with two items. The first was a halberd he claimed could slice through any shield or armor. The second was a shield he claimed could withstand any weapon. Wait a minute. Those claims contradict each other. Very perceptive. But then again, you've heard this story before, right? Anyway, as you mentioned, the very descriptions of these items discredit both. When the king pointed this out, the merchant was left speechless, and thus, the Chinese word for contradiction is born. Oh, I see. So the chipped shield and broken knife symbolize... Precisely so. They symbolize the merchant's items. The ancient tale ends with the merchant at a loss for words, but it's in our nature to pursue matters to their conclusion, even if it results in something as ugly as this. Wow, thanks, Mr. Edgeworth. I learned something new today. That's funny. That's so, then why were you only given a shield? You'll have to ask Chief Gant. 2 years ago, he had the halberd part of the award abolished. Chief Gant. Okay, I wanna check something though. Slice through any shield or armor. Withstand. Okay, yeah. I was thinking, did it say it could withstand it or deflect it? Because the thing could deflect and still be broken, and then that would clear up the contradiction. But I guess not. They thought things through better than that. Alright, I suppose the next step is this. I wonder what he was writing for who. Come on, Mr. Wright. Let's take a look. Are you crazy? Edgeworth is sitting right there. Just distract him. I'll check it out. Ah, hey, Edgeworth. Is that the death of Gumshoe out the window there? Oh no, he's falling to the ground! Hold on. First let me see what this girl's doing crawling around at my feet. Great job. He didn't even look. What? Letter of... You're having trouble reading, I'll read it for you. It says letter of resignation.